Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are watching us live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. And you know what? So, when you get caught up in your head and then you're worried about making the mistakes, do you make the mistake? That's kind of where I'm at today. And it's so funny when you have friends that recognize those things and they're telling you to stop and breathe and relax, and they call you out right away. So the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. So thanks for joining us. It's the Civic Long Weekend here in Canada. You guys have plans? I'm gonna do some walking around some cemeteries tomorrow, which I'm excited about because normally I have a friend that I do this with all the time, Jody. She has been on the show before, and we do this thing called the Pioneer Cemetery Crawl. And we haven't really had an opportunity. I have been so busy that we haven't had an opportunity to go out this year yet. So I'm looking forward to getting out tomorrow and doing that. That's sort of the plan. And my youngest kiddo is leaving for the UK tomorrow. So it's his first time, overseas, going with his dad, and he'll be fine. But I've got some mama bear stuff going on too, right? Excited for him, but worried at the same time. Yeah, a little bit. So let me bring out my guest, my dear friend, my dear friend who has taught me a lot in the short period of time that I have known him. Taught me a lot in all kinds of different levels. So CEO of the R.I.F.T Nation, host of the Orion Effect Sunday evenings, the one, the only, the Hitman Ed Odell.
What up? Hi.
How are you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing okay. How you doing? Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, well, you've had me on your show too, and I've had your co-host Rhonda. Rhonda has been on.
She's awesome, isn't she?
She is fabulous in every way.
I've been telling her since we were 14 years old, what are you doing? You need to do this. And finally it took it. Hello, Contessa. Hello, Michelle. It's taken to where we're at in our lives now for her to go, I think I'm ready. You think? You're 40 years late.
Have you really known each other that long?
Yeah, we've known each other since we were 14 years old.
Get out, eh?
Yep.
That's like growing up and maturing with people.
Well, that's a good point. That's a valid point. Maturing. Because we hung out in our teenage years. We kind of separated. She had her journey. I took my journey. And at the right moment, how we love the universe, we came back together at the time we needed to back in 2019. And she has been with me through some very heavy things. And here we are now. Helped her. She's not only the part of RNN, but she's also part of Vibe, working on the freaking awesome paranormal show. Yeah. And there's something else secretly that's in the works for her. So along with doing her shamanism, her mediumship, I know I'm tooting the horn. She just has to deal with that stuff. But, she deserves it. She called me her biggest fan a couple of days ago on one of her posts. I'm like, you're right. You're one of my best friends. So I'm going to toot your horn.
Well, you definitely have that ride or die. Do I need to bring a shovel loyalty to your friends, right?
Yes.
And I'm so grateful that I have been brought into that. One of the things that one of the biggest blessings from starting Spirit Switchboard, it was a year ago in April we started here on UPRN, and again, shout out to Michelle for asking me and including me with the UPRN family, is the network of people that that have embraced me, that have brought me in, these wonderful friendships that have started. Yes,
yelling.
like
I'm not yelling. Not yet.
I love.
Yes, happy Friday, Stephen. Hello.
Happy Friday, Stephen. Hi, Richard.
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
Host of Banter with Richie B. You guys like, follow, subscribe. That's right. Saturday nights, follow their journey. They are going to be on in 2 weeks as well, too. Paranormal Theory. Paranormal Theory has also been on. Please watch theirs. Yeah. Did you? Oh, you guys were on the freaking awesome paranormal, the other show that Rhonda co-hosts.
Linda. Everybody's in the house. Sorry, I couldn't share.
Everybody's in the house.
Hello, Heidi.
Hi, Heidi. Thanks for being here.
James is here. James Girl. What's up?
Me too. And you know what, Stephen, I'm excited too. And Richie said to me, the thing that you can do to prepare for our show, like our segment, is to not prepare. But yeah. My brain does not work that way. My brain just doesn't work. My brain, I showed Ed my prep for this show, which was months in the making, and there's probably about 8 pages of questions.
I'll be back.
There's just so many. Like, because I was thinking, like, if I had that opportunity to sit and have those sort of questions and conversations and banter, what would I want to talk about? What would I want to know, right?
That could go down so many rabbit holes. So I'm really looking forward to what rabbit hole we go down tonight.
Yes. What kind of hardwood?
Yes. Does it have syrup?
Right. Never prep, be natural. I agree. Hi, James. Thanks for making it today. Like, I didn't realize that your history with the paranormal started very young.
Very young, actually. I'm not one of those people who had experiences. I'm one of those individuals that was born into a unique family that majority of them all have abilities. So, I came from a whole different point of view. My parents raised me into the knowledge of the spiritual and the paranormal. It wasn't, oh, look, and another no offense to anybody. However, I'm not one of those let me tell you about my childhood experience that got me into it. No, I did not see a specter. I did live in an active home, but I was a child of we left there when I was 5. So all the way up to 5 years old, this home was active with a relative, and maybe more. But all I can say is I can't say a whole lot more than my great aunt passed away in the home.
When it's family too, it's easy to walk around them or be around them and it not be an elephant in the room at the same time.
Not for me. I don't recall her. So with it being such an open, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's what I mean. Sometimes like not feeling them. It's just such a natural feel, like you would already recognize family. So you just don't tap into it to make it be louder. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a knowingness, but without engaging.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Now I'll go with that. I mean, we're looking from, first of all, I've got the memory of a freaking elephant. So if I cuss tonight, please, I do apologize way ahead of time. I'm going to try to keep it to a very minimal.
I'm a salty word person, so doing the show has been so good for me because I tell people at the live events now that I know that I can do 2 hours without swearing. But
hey, you do better than me.
It is like outside the switchboard is a whole other ball game.
True, and let me stay on track because no, we're going to go that way. Let's stay here. Squirrel.
Yep.
I've got to. I know my memory goes all the way back to probably when I was 1. I have
Which is
memory
rare.
of. Some people say it is. I don't know. I just know this is my ability of memory. I recall myself being set in a. I'll be right back with you. We have a heat shrink. Hold on 1 second. I don't see where to put myself on.
No problem. I got you covered. Heidi, I know sometimes the salty words just need to be used. And sometimes the salty words feel good. It just shifts energy, I think, when we use the salty words. Good or bad. So we were prepared that Ed was going to have to come in and out today. So I have some questions ready for you guys in the chat, just in case, because I don't really know how often Ed's going to have to go in and out today. So I got some questions for you guys. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys, nope, we're good. You missed it. I almost got that question out for the chat room. I'm going to hang on to it in case we need it.
We're good. Sorry, y'all. This is going to happen a lot. I've got a tech, my shop foreman. I got called into work tonight, like I put in chat. So I'm going to be bouncing left and right. If I get a customer, I got to roll. I'll be back. So please, and if you see me do this, I'll be right back. I know I'm telling you, and I told. Anyway, stop, square it off, focus. All right. So, yeah, this is why she loves me, folks. I tickle her neon.
Because we're focusing.
That's right. All right. So, my memory goes back to when I was in the baby swing. I remember eating the taste of the baby food. I remember when I was 1 year old out on the street with the wind-up car with my oldest sibling. You name it. There's so much that I remember from back then. So with that being said, I recall all the conversations between my siblings, which I have 4 others, or God rest, I have 3 others now because we lost one to cancer last year. The conversations about the spiritual and the paranormal, them saying how they encountered Ollie, my mother talking about the 45-minute conversation she had with Ollie on the bed, my 2 sisters running from her as she's walking down the hallway. One actually, and Gail, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but I got to tell this story. There was one time that my middle sister saw her walking up the hallway and coming towards them because we lived in a 3 partial house, 1, 2, 3, tri level. And all the bedrooms are on the top floor. And she saw Ollie walking down the hallway. So she ran through her room. And then back then there was a thing. It wasn't a patio back then. It was somewhere else that they could jump on, but it was like a patio. And she flew out through the window. She dove through the window to get away from her. My oldest sister saw her on several occasions. So these things would be talked about openly just because we were, my father was a deacon of a Presbyterian church. And, Christianity and religion and Protestant, you don't talk about such things. My dad's like, what? Both my grandparents were Methodist preachers. So my grandmother was one of the leading individuals in the state of Virginia for ESP. And she was married to Richard Chaplin, who was a high-ranking Methodist preacher here in Virginia. So, yeah, don't tell me that religion cannot mix with spiritualism, because
it totally can.
When it does, it's beautiful. It's like a symphony when done right. So I can remember these things. And I My father taught me religion with spiritualism. My mother taught me the spiritual side. But she also, and I didn't listen, she also taught me about people. And I should have taken more of those lessons. I will say that.
Do you find, so I have a kiddo. I have 4 kids. So I have one of my kiddos that was experienced a whole lot of things as a little person. Most of the things that kiddo was experiencing was to help me remember what I was supposed to be doing here, and for me to remember what I needed to do, like what my path and purpose was, and to push me towards it, right? So the more that I took ownership of it, the less his experiences occurred. And, in talking with other people, kind of coming to light that he was just needing to have like a regular human experience, not necessarily a spiritual experience at this point.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like not and dude does. He's got this great thing going on, but it's not necessarily with dead folks. It's not with any of that sort of stuff, right?
Absolutely. Heidi, hello, love, Contessa. That sounds like my home growing up. Religion mixed with spiritualism. Amen, sister.
Exactly.
There's a lot of us that are like that. And Heidi, just to let you know, the Rift is me. So hello. Don't want to confuse anybody. I'm actually logged into the network's YouTube. Absolutely.
So do you find there's ebbs and flows with it? Like we move into doing paranormal, tapping open. There's a time when we need to step away from it for a little while, then we come back into it, or is it always there underlying?
I think that's on the individual. In fact, I can tell you that's based on the individual. Because again, I can't speak on somebody's experience from my time to their time because they had encounters. I was raised into this. I was taught. So it's kind of different.
Do you think that? Because I've heard you say that you don't listen, like you don't watch certain shows, you don't watch certain movies in not wanting to be influenced in any way.
Yep.
Right? And keeping your thoughts clear, then how would being raised that way influence what you tap into and not tap into?
Valid point. Now check this out, is we sometimes relearn what we were taught, right? Okay. So you are making the mental and spiritual choice to believe your own basis, what you have been taught. Is this what is and what is not? We reach a certain age between, depends on actually male and female, between the ages of 7 and 14, when we move into adulthood, that is primarily the time where this all starts to get shielded up. And we're going, oh, there's no such thing as ghosts. Oh, we're taught that through society. Now, here we go. Sociology and psychology kicking in now. We are taught to put blinders and blindfolds on. But if we are allowed to breathe through that, that doesn't mean that something's going to happen to me. Maybe my frequency, which we have heard a lot, is a little off, which puts things away. There is a specific name for my frequency, and I won't. That's a rabbit hole we can get into later. But I feel that through our experiences as a child, that how do I express this? My blood children, I like the way I said that because I've got 2 and then I got 4 god kids. So keep going. When they were raised, they were allowed to watch all the horror they wanted. And I'm like, why? Why? Well, because she wanted them to know what's fake. That was her thought. And I'm like, I'm kind of not going to argue with this, so I see your point. Me, I've taken a personal choice because of psychology and sociology and realizing that our synapses, our conscious thought, pulls down into our subconscious thought, and we have the ability to project images and thoughts outward. So when I started doing real research into sociology and the paranormal parology, I realized what could take place. So I cut everything off. No horror movies, no ghost shows, no ghost tube. I mean, anybody that's ever been connected with me, including everybody that's in my society, will tell you, oh, we don't watch that stuff. Oh, look, I did it again. Could use the other S word. But I don't, because I know it can get caught in my subconscious. And if I'm in the field, the last thing I need is for me to think I'm seeing something. Perfect example.
Yep. Go ahead. Tell me your example.
Perfect example. We were at a plantation in Tuckahoe. Oh, sorry. Plantation in Powhatan, Virginia, in 2013. I saw an image of a young lady in white that looked like the girl from The Ring. Clear as day. I mean, she looked angry and at me too. We were in a dining room and she was on the porch looking through the window, and I'm like, holy shit, did I just see that? First thing it went, did I see that? Or was it because I had seen an image and it projected? In the research that I did, it's called the Kruger effect. No shit. This is a true fact. It's sorry. It is called the Kruger effect because so many kids in the 70s and 80s dreamt of seeing this particular character. They made it into a movie. Now, this is the same thing that's taking place, and this is actually comes from Asian culture. This girl in white with the black hair, jet black hair, all wet. I forgot there's a name for the actual mythology. But she's seen all over the world. Why? So I've chosen to shut it down as far as that goes, because I need to have a pure insight to what I'm dealing with by choice.
Do you feel there are exceptions? Or could be exceptions?
For what I see, or
well, not for what you see, but just like I have always, from the time I was little, I think it started with like V.C. Andrews and then moved to like Stephen King.
Right.
From an early age. Those books, very early on, those books. Speaking in horror movies, if I had the opportunity to, if the rabbit ears were connected in the right direction, going the right way, the aluminum foil on right, because we lived like in the middle of nowhere with 2 stations. So like watching those whenever we could.
Sure, let's think about this.
But like, I don't necessarily, like, people send me pictures all the time. Do you see this in the and I'm like, nope, I don't see it. Or I go a place and I'm like, no, I'm not feeling, like, people will walk into a space and go, oh, this feels heavy. And I'm like, I'm thinking about dinner. I got like other stuff going. I'm not feeling what you're feeling. Like, I don't have that. So
I think a lot of people have been taught now to be looking for these items where before they weren't taught that. Do you see there's a reverse in our psychology and our sociology in our world today?
So has media, how is media influencing all of that? What do we need to, how can we, is it just avoid it? We can't avoid it.
You can't avoid it, but it's personal choice. But you got to remember, there's an addiction to everything. And in my opinion, the paranormal and supernatural can be an addiction because A, it's giving you a high, B, it's giving you satisfaction, B, or C, it's giving you a chemical reaction that you're looking for, much like on a roller coaster. So people can be addicted to paranormal investigating, and I mean that's why we have ghost hunters and all up. That's how we all became. We were all ghost hunters originally. We all made the path.
The difference between ghost hunter, ghost paranormal investigator, paranormal enthusiast.
You're away from that. I walked into that damn thing right there.
And
Damn
it's
it.
actually one of the things one of those questions that I wrote down was like, regarding media consumption.
Yeah,
And
it is.
what are we feeding, right?
Well,
But
now you
let's
you
start
you
with the
gave
other
me
question.
you gave me two. You just
Yep.
asked me
Gave you
A,
two.
and now you're going with B.
Yeah,
What way do you want me to go?
Either both at your own leisure.
Just mess with you. You know that. Let's start from the basic. Okay, ghost hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So before you're a ghost hunter, you have to be a paranormal enthusiast. And we all were. We all experienced the unexplained on television shows. Look, even back, if we go back to the 70s, Leonard Nimoy in Search of. We got addicted. And I'm
Well,
going to give,
his
hold on.
voice.
Yeah, his voice. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's shows that people don't even think about that affected them back then that are affecting us now, and people didn't realize, especially for those Gen Xers. Real People. And a lot of people are like, I don't remember that show, but it was there, and I bet you did watch it. We had Real People. Oh man, now I'm trying to remember. Ripley's Believe It or Not, The Unexplained, and there was another show with the Olympian Dan Tarkenton. What the hell was the name of that show? Anyway, these are all shows that were back then in the 70s and even in the 60s. We get through the 80s and 90s, and not so many of those shows, but yet it reemerges like a monster creeping out of the creek or a swamp going, I'm back. Then our thoughts of all that, all those, oh man, I thought about this and I read books and all this, it's all coming back to us now, where this generation has social media, has been bombarded by it because of the television shows, because of the magazines, because of the platforms. And it's acceptable comparatively to the way it was back then. Spiritualism was not acceptable in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, no. Where now it's becoming an undersided mainstream. Yes. Now.
Michelle Plummer's just saying the intro music to Unsolved Mysteries did it for me.
They see Unsolved Mysteries as another one, which was when the episode with Gettysburg was in Unsolved Mysteries, which where my brother was a part of. That was where they talked about seeing. I'm trying to remember. I split in the time continuum on one of the streets where it looked like it was back in the day. These people come back and it's nothing but a brick wall. My brother and my father experienced that a week after the little girl that was on Unsolved Mysteries. Now, that is something completely different. I don't want to go there right now because that
sounds all timey-wimey.
Exactly right. So you asked me what the difference is. All right, let's roll into that.
Yep.
We were enthusiasts. Okay. So we became paranormal and spooky enthusiasts. Okay. We moved into that going, people can do this and they're on TV. Well, I can do it. Not me, but because I was doing it before all these shows. However, that's what built up. So built into ghost hunters. Okay. Ghost hunters. This is your basic rooting of any investigator. I don't care who you were. You were a ghost hunter. You started out as a ghost hunter. You progressed into your investigation and your research, and you progressed into your science. You progressed into the knowledge of wanting. While there's still people that are ghost hunters and they're okay with it because I call them the paro junkies. They're the ones that get the high off doing it. They're the ones that will freak out at the noise. Oh my God, did you hear that? Oh, I'm going to run, but I need to know what it is. I know my voice went really high. Hey, just saying. But they're still ghost hunters, and that's their choice.
Right.
It used to bother me when I was like, someone would call me, you're just a ghost hunter. I'm like, correction. I am no ghost hunter. However, these things do happen. So we progress from there. Bat phone. I'll be right back.
Okay. What are your thoughts in the chat? Ghost hunter, ghost enthusiast. Where did you start? Where did you guys start? Creepy stuff started really young for me. And it was with books more than it was with shows because, like I said, we lived in the middle of nowhere with like 2 channels. Like I mostly remember Fraggle Rock. Like as far as a TV show, I know.
Fraggle Rock!
Yeah, and Johnny Quest. Do you remember Johnny Quest?
Oh, I love Johnny Quest. That was one of the
Johnny
things.
Quest at 6 a.m.
That was one of the
Saturday.
shows that drew you into the paranormal. Okay, hold on. I got another customer. I got Miss Gordon coming in. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Johnny Quest and Spider-Man. My haunted apartment moved here January 2022. Strange stuff happened. Got cameras. Which could be lots of things too, right? Former tenants, the land, energy that you've brought into the space. What scary movies, Trisha? I think the first scary movie that I don't remember the first scary movie. Actually, I do remember the first scary movie. It was The Wizard of Oz. As a kid, that was scary. The flying monkeys were scary. Contessa's just sharing creepy stuff started in our home. Then I got into scary movies and spooky shows. But what was a scary movie for you? And what was a spooky show for you? Heidi is just sharing, I have felt energy my entire life, knew things so incredibly, felt things deep. Michelle is sharing, scariest for me was the first Exorcist movie. I don't think that I watched the first Exorcist movie until maybe 9 years ago, and I'm 53. Right? The monkeys were crazy. The monkeys were crazy. The Wizard of Oz is a favorite. You know what I learned? My mom, I just learned this last summer. My mom came to visit. My mom lives 9 hours away. And she had come to visit. And I forget what we were talking about. And she is very scared of a lot of things. And I dragged my mom out on a paranormal investigation the last time she was here. And we went somewhere that was pretty gentle. Like I know that the spirits there are gentle. They like interacting, but it's family. So it wasn't putting my mom in a bad position where it was going to be super intense. And she said that I wasn't scared of the Wizard of Oz, but I thought that I was. She said that the first scary movie she watched was the Wizard of Oz, and I made her watch it with me, and I was 5, it was a weird conversation with my mom. Contessa's also sharing the Exorcist movie. Linda is sharing, I think subtly, my mom was always saying when she heard a noise that it was her father coming through to see us. When my kids had their experiences when they were younger, I never said who or what I felt it may have been. I always asked them what they thought they were seeing. And then if it was family members, I would put out different photographs and then ask them if they see in the photographs who they were seeing in the space, right? A lot of you are saying The Exorcist. Oh, Trisha, really, eh? Your mom would have psychics come into the home and do readings. Weird. So good. Well, that's what my kids are going to be saying. That's the legacy I'm leaving.
It's a cam.
The legacy I'm leaving too is psychic readings in the house and seances and all of that stuff. Hi, Anne-Marie. Thanks for being here. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I feel like I need to apologize for laughing, Heidi. I moved to Kansas in 8th grade. The monkeys got real then. I understand that. Thanks. Thanks, Gordon. Thanks for being here. I'm not sure how awesome I am, but I'm going to tell my kids you said that. You know, when Ed was sharing that image or talking about the female character from the movie The Ring, I saw that. So at the parking garage here in Guelph, if you are in the Guelph area here in Ontario, we're just about an hour-ish outside of Toronto, and there's this like 3-level, maybe it's 4, not sure, parking garage at the mall, and we were going up the ramp to that 3rd level, and we got up and she was like standing right there. She looked wet, her hair was dark and in her face and hanging down, and I screamed, and the kids had no idea what I was screaming about, and I'm like, do you see her? And that was odd. So, you know, like Ed said, people see her, but I don't remember being exposed to that in another way. Did you hear my story? Could you hear my story when you were doing what you need to do?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that dark-haired, wet-haired little girl in the parking garage.
Now, it's funny y'all were bringing up all these movie names, and I'm just going to say one movie that scared the living hell out of me and still bothers me to this day, that is stuck in my subconscious. Chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang, chitty chitty bang bang, we love you. And Kimber awesome. Yeah, that movie, The Child Collector.
I never saw it. I still have never seen it.
You've never seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? Oh, you've got to watch it. You've got to watch it now, even more so. That is the scariest effer in the world right there.
Come here, little boy. Want a piece of candy?
Oh, yeah. Original horror movie right there, buddy.
Willy Wonka used to scare me too. Could you really blow up like a big purple grape?
Right? I don't know. You know, for some reason, I loved Willy Wonka. The Oompa Loompas, I think maybe bothered me a little bit when I was little, but as I got older, I love the Oompas. I guess you have to. I actually read the book and I read a little backing on the Oompa Loompas, and then I just kind of really got into it. So, okay, I'll be right back. I got to go again. I'll be back in a minute.
No problem. So I don't know. I think like I could watch. I mean, I watched it as an adult, but it was more recent that I watched that. I wasn't a teenager when I watched it. Heidi showing Freddy Krueger terrified me when I was 15. Okay, so this was the question. I'm just going to ask the question. We're just going to ask this question. I wrote a couple of them out for you guys. And maybe this plays part into what we're talking about, right? In our subconscious, or having those memories that are in there that end up getting projected out, whether it's conscious, subconscious, however it could be. But why do basements, like why do basements creep people out? Why is it always like the basement is like super scary, or the demons in the basement? What if it's not a demon in the basement? What if it is like some single mom who had a bunch of like wretched teenage children, and she's just tired of people going down there bugging her, thinking that she's a demon all the time?
Hi, Miss Annie. Yes, ma'am.
What if she's and what if that spirit's in the basement is not the demon? She's just tired of everybody projecting their fear, so she's like, let's give them what they want.
Fear projection. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going into a theory on this. Oh, we're going straight into that. All right. Spirits can project, in theory, what you want them to see.
I agree with that.
The perception of what they're going to do, good or bad, will be projected. It's the same thing as they already know we're coming to investigate before we get there. It's the conscious collective. Yeah. So,
Always.
They can make themselves, or they are monsters. Maybe they're, is there such things? Yes. Our perception, they can affect our perception. Hell, we don't. Okay, yeah, we're going down that rabbit hole. I'm late for an important date. We're going down the hole.
I said that we were going to talk about etiquette, but I mean, we could get to etiquette eventually too.
I hope so. The rabbit hole is a perfect example of the universal flush. Okay. It's kind of like the wormhole of the universe. That's why I always say rabbit hole. Has anybody ever thought about why do you use rabbit hole? Anybody? Because representation of a wormhole in the universe. Here we go. We're going to go somewhere else. Now, I just forgot exactly where I was leading this to. Good googly moogly.
Fear projection, spirits projecting.
It also could be aliens.
Right. And I think I personally believe that aliens play a very big factor, way more than what people understand or perceive as well too. And that has been part of the learning and growth that I've had over this last year in meeting new people and having different conversations and different experiences.
We're all frequency. We're all volume. We're all materialistic. We're all noise. We're all color. The fact is we only see 30% of all color as a scientific fact. We only hear certain ranges of frequency. Every human hears different in their frequency. We see differently. That's why I feel certain humans have different experiences than others because we're at different frequency levels. Some people,
for sure.
Some people can hear EVP where others can't. Some people can see a spirit where others can't.
Mm-hmm. And what we bring into a space, whether it is reportedly haunted or not, that energy, yes. We affect the energy in the space.
Yes.
So how does that also affect any evidence that we may be trying to collect? And is it about research or is it about what's the gain?
Well, if you think about it, if you do your research, you're gaining knowledge and wisdom, right? It's just like, that's the word. It's research. You're gaining wisdom into what you are learning. But
if people are investigating, what's their gain? What's their intention? How important is intention?
Oh, that's another rabbit hole you're about.
I've got lots of rabbit hole questions.
Cool. Hold on to that. I'll come back to that one after this.
We can certainly keep the basement. My grandparents, so I had the privilege of growing up beside my grandparents. And my grandparents had this older farmhouse with a root cellar. So it smelled like, that musty, it was stone walls, dirt floor, wooden creaky, crooked steps to go into the basement. That basement, but it was the vibe of it, right? It's blah, blah, blah. Oh dear, let's come back up. Contessa, I live in a 120-year-old house. I'm not scared of my dungeon basement. Well, I think that's great, though. I think it's great that you're not scared of the dungeon basement. Heidi's sharing how that person with their own frequency was attached to anything in their intentions. We're all human.
Yeah. Intentions.
Miss Cindy, thank you so much for my birthday flowers and the balloon. And let me tell you, Lily snatched that balloon as soon as she walked into the space. And that was that. I got to see it for a brief few moments and then Queenie said, yes, the granddaughter can have the balloon. Of course. Intention. Our intention.
Our intention.
How important?
It is very important when investigating and researching.
How does it affect space?
Well, it can affect the space by the emotional state of the energy, because you're using emotion when you go into a place, which turns into frequency and which turns into intent. You're going in, you think you're going to harass a spirit. You don't think they already know, or don't know, rather. Sorry about that. Scratch that, play that, do it again. Of course they know. So they're going to give you the crap back. You're going to call something an a-hole, and it's going to call it back. I think you go in thinking, oh, I'm gonna rattle its chains. Well, welcome to the Nightmare Before Christmas, because it's going to rattle you before you rattle it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just coming fast. So we take that intent. Say, all right, let's go to the ground fact. You just broke up with someone. You're angry with someone, family, friend. You're sad or depressed. Take those four. You walk into a location to investigate. You're going to get it back. Either you're going to get a whole lot of something you don't want, or you're going to get absolutely nothing because they can already feel it. If you walk into a place being happy, joyful, thankful, and yes, I said thankful, and open, you're going to get something completely different. It is intention, not just the intention of what you're going to do there, but what is your intent as an individual, state of mind?
So I have been to locations where people have said, activity happens between this time and this time, so it's better to come, closer to this.
I've experienced that. Oh, yes.
I'm like, I show up and it's starting before we even get in. It's starting way ahead of time. And I really do feel like those spirits, that energy understands my intent is I'm going to listen to you. I want to help you go if you need to go. And so it's active right away. It doesn't wait like the 5 hours to get to like that witching hour that it's supposedly known to be busy.
Oh yeah, I see Ward is really hitting on something here. I'm glad he posted it.
I'll pull it up so you can read it.
Yeah. What can be your assistance of existence? In the moment, I am everything and I can be, right? Intertwined with everything I was, am, and will be. That's because you need to do shadow work. Whoa, okay. My intentions is reality. Conscious and self-realization of encompasses everything from then, now, and what to come, whether it has happened or not. That is being. Well, that's absolutely correct. But if you're holding on to what happened to you or who you were, that also means you're not growing, you're not moving forward. When we do our we're going spiritual real quick. All right. When you do your shadow work, you're accepting and realizing what and who you were. You see now your faults and the positive things that you applied. Don't just focus on the fault, and then you can move forward. What are the things that you want to fix that you saw bad about yourself, which is moving you forward? Now, I agree with you. That does encompass everything, and I agree. Be right back.
And understanding like our shadow self, we have to incorporate that, not necessarily separate, because it's a part of who you are. So understanding your whole being, past, present, future, and then we can mix in alternate realities and alternate dimensions like that we're having. Then we're getting into multiverse stuff, right? Heidi is sharing. Also, do not give any energy to what I feel that fight or flight feeling from. Can't even talk or give thoughts to it. With that, can't say no more. And everyone's going to have a different experience in a location. Like what one person is scared of is going to be that fear is influenced by their experiences, their traumas, the people around them, what's been projected onto them, what they've collected. And we all experience things differently. But moving into a space, our intention really matters. And like I said, I've gone into spaces where, the activity hits right off the hop because they're just so anxious to be able to connect and have somebody listen and hear them with the intention of helping or supporting as well too. Ed also talked about joy and being thankful. And I think that's what's missing as well too, right? When people are investigating wherever they may be, if it's an asylum, a hospital, a cemetery, a residential space, looking at, not all the memories have to be horrific. Not all the memories have to be horrific to that place, or the energy has to be horrific. And if there are spirits there, asking them to relive some of that creates more trauma or may delay interactions. Asking them about a joyful memory or joyful connections, not everything, bringing joy to it somehow. And how would that change the results that you get as far as evidence and a different perspective in approach as well too with research, if you look at that aspect of trying to introduce or ask those questions about joy. Did you hear me talking about
No, I had to turn the volume down, unfortunately. That's going to be the downfall to this is I come and go, and then my drain of thought just goes woof. And
That's
then
okay.
I was talking to you, so I'm like, okay, come on, focus.
And it will be like you'll be exhausted too because it's that on off, brain here. So I appreciate that you're putting yourself through this because I know that it's like trying to have 18 tabs open and then feel present in everything that you're doing, right?
It is so true. It's like the old platform. Tab. They're all open. It's like, this is a perfect example. It's like having Tourette's and ADHD at the same time, and they're all effing open, and you're trying to click each one, and every time you click one, another one opens up. Yes.
My world.
Yeah.
It's been my world. Okay, so I was talking about how we investigate our intentions as well too, because you had mentioned about having joy or being thankful for experience as well too, and I feel that's something that is missing with a lot of investigations that happen, and those research sort of the perspective. He warned us that it was going to be a busy night for him. So I'm glad that you guys are all here in the chat to keep the conversation going. So I'm just going to come right back up. Contessa sharing, growing up, I've always loved vampires, werewolves, witches. Me too. I'm drawn as much to dark stories as I am to light. But the dark stories have light to them too, actually. Didn't think to have my intention at that perspective, Heidi. You're very welcome. I am a questioner. Like, yeah, I'm one of those experiencers from the time that I was little. So as an adult and doing this stuff full time, I just ask as many questions as possible. I just get nosy and I want to see from different perspectives and open to other people's perspectives and learning, because I don't feel we ever stop learning. I know. Work getting in the way. Well, I'm in the way of his work, actually. So I appreciate any moments that we're getting in this. It's okay. It's so funny. Denise said, "Dang, work getting in the way," and it's really me that's in the way of your work. So it's the other way around. Right, Contessa? I think we should be curious. I think we should be curious about everything. And so really quickly, what I had said,
Yeah.
push the pause button. Yeah.
No.
If we could get all timey-wimey, right?
Give me a good motion.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So adding joy, I think that people can add joy to the way that they're doing investigations at any of these places. People assume going into asylums, into hospitals, they're looking for and feeding into where that negativity was, and what there has to be joy in there too at some point. So bring joy into it.
Yes, you go into a location and you hear all the information about it, and then you know about the history, and then the staff goes blah 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 blah. You're being led into an assumption of the reaction on the location thereof. Therefore, you're going to presume something's going to happen.
And it's hard to avoid that, right? Because if that's the mindset or the intention that you're going in with, it may be what you receive. So I'm again just going, if you go in with a different perspective and a different approach, so then that comes down to another question: how do you work with other people or other teams where the approach where you not be in alignment with how they are approaching an investigation?
We must learn to be flexible. We must learn to be the bamboo.
The bamboo. Okay.
We must learn to be the bamboo. Not every term is going to be in the same ratio line. Not every team is investigating the same as another team. There's also different dynamics. There's different applied personalities and even culture. We have to learn to be flexible, to understand how that team works if they have asked us to be a part. Vice versa. If we have asked a team to come in and they join us, we have our way. We have a certain way we do things. Now, majority of the time, all teams do the same basic structure. Some are more structured, some are more chaotic. But understanding the individual and the group that you're going into with, to be able to be flexible to work with. If you can't, you shouldn't be there.
Because that shifts the vibration in the space.
Yes. And in fact, could create something completely different.
So does it affect how does it affect the EMF then? Does it affect all of that? If you are shifting your vibration, does it shift the results in a way that it's actually your stuff that's getting picked up and not necessarily location or spirits?
Well, see, now you're trying to pull spiritual into science.
No, I'm just asking a question.
Well, I understand, but
I don't know if I'm not necessarily, that's not my intention to pull it in together, but if you're projecting even subconsciously the frustration with another person into the space, can that vibration of the energy that you are putting out affect the space where it would be on equipment?
I think it can affect the space, but I don't necessarily think it's going to affect the equipment. Unless someone has a high EMF field. If somebody is projecting electromagnetic forces, to begin with.
So, or projecting enough that, I don't know. Yeah.
See, you walked right into a wall on that one, didn't you?
No, it's not. I just know like that within our own house, when moods are high, we blow electrical equipment and lights. We do that ourselves.
But that comes with the individual, and we just, electromagnetic field. If they are putting out that much to affect, and it's not documented, then it's fake. Isn't that crazy? Because now you're affecting the equipment without telling anyone in your group, and this is where the group knowing you comes into play.
Yeah.
If you're affecting or playing with another group and you're doing that and you did not tell them that there's a possibility that you have a high electromagnetic field and they don't test you, whose fault is that? And two, is that not false evidence?
It would be.
Yeah. So can it affect it? Yes, it can. But you're again, we've got to look into that frequency, variance. Now, one of the things that everybody forgets too is barometric pressure based on temperature. You got to add all that in. It's like a big pot of Brunswick paranormal stew.
It is. Agreed.
Which I
What
love.
about and reputation? How important is reputation?
Yeah. Well, some people don't give two craps about it. Those are the people that are ones that are doing the work. They're in the ground. They're in the ditches. They're the people doing it quietly that try to get that right information. They're trying to do it right. There are a lot of groups that are trying to get a reputation for evidence, et cetera, which a lot of people, all of us at some point have wanted to be seen, be famous, be known. But nowadays, I'd rather not be known. ASPS doesn't put out their stuff. We're like, for instance, we're looking over old material, but we don't really put out any of the new stuff we have because, what are we going to offer that people don't already want to criticize?
Mm-hmm. That was one of the things I wrote down: reasons to not share evidence publicly.
Unfortunately, today's society is filled with opinions, know-it-alls, and people.
I said assholes the other day, and okay. I just said it again.
Thank you. You said it for me. But there's so many people out there that just want attention, and it doesn't matter how they get it. So they are going to push your button to say yay or nay. Now, if it was somebody that I highly respected and I put something out and they went, hey, let's see what you got, and they give their opinion or their insight of what is, I'm down with it. But if it's some jerk off coming along saying, well, that's just fake and blah, blah, blah. And this is the one thing that I've come to learn in this field. How do you know? Because you weren't there. What proof do you have or can offer to say that it is fake if you weren't there, or they didn't have that experience when you weren't there for them to have the experience with?
Yeah. And there's always so much more backstory than just to a clip, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sorry. I just read Heidi's. I got to use that from now on. I also use carpet muncher and butt pirate. Dick ass. That's awesome. All right, we're staying on track. On track.
I agreed, Michelle. It with social media, and it's not, well, yes, with social media, everyone becomes like an armchair expert.
They do, and it's so sad because they don't know two dickles about the actual situation, but because they don't have to be confrontational, they can do it from a distance behind a screen. They think it's okay, and they're going to get their rocks off on it. I don't have time for childish crap anymore, especially when you're 30 to 50 years old and still acting like a teen. That's pretty sad to begin with, and you need help. Go see a psychiatrist.
Yes, seek counseling if you cannot have a conversation without it being confrontational.
Yep.
Conversations do not need to be confrontational.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And that's the way it should be in the paranormal research field. But unfortunately, ego and id plays a huge factor in whatever we do. Everybody thinks they're right. Nobody wants to admit when they're wrong. I'll tell you in a heartbeat when I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll say it. I've learned that lesson because I come across as a know-it-all. Look, I know this. I'm not stupid. I'm fully aware of my personality and my traits, and I accept it. That's part of my shadow work. If I come across that, I tell everybody, put me in check. Talk to me. If I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong.
Yeah, I say the same thing. I don't know everything, so it's okay to correct me. It's okay. Help me be better.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And we can do that with kindness, and we can do that with compassion. It doesn't have to be rude.
Thug, country boy, redneck attitude.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I said it out loud. Yes, I did.
That's funny. I used that phrase this morning with my mom too, actually. I was explaining some stuff today. Michelle is saying, I'm with you. I can admit when I'm wrong. I think life is a huge learning lesson. You can never stop learning.
It really is. And so what we are doing in the field. You know why? Because we don't know anything about the paranormal. That's why.
We really don't. And so that, again, is it about the intention in researching to understand those more about those questions? I personally feel we're not meant to know until we die. I feel that we're not ever going to know all of those answers to the questions that we may have because we're not allowed to know everything. I feel like we're just not, whether it is being held back because we're not at that level of ability to handle it. so it's just not been given to us. We're not mature enough to be able to handle the responsibility of it, whatever it is. I feel like pieces of it are held back for a reason.
Einstein and Nikola Tesla both made the same statement. To understand the paranormal, you have to understand religion and spiritualism at the same time. Once you can get a grasp on what the paranormal really is, then you'll move forward. But you have to understand that you have to have spiritualism and religion and spiritualism. You have to have knowledge. Knowledge is key. Look throughout history. Paranormal documented throughout history, no matter what the culture is.
You sound like Joni. Joni is always like, look at the history. Look at the past.
Look at the past.
Yes. So if you guys, we're talking about Joni Templeton Skinner. She has a show with the Rift Nation Network. She's on 2 shows. So she has her show on Wednesday evenings at 8, which is True Crime, Mysteries Beyond the Veil. It's forensic astrology. She's been on my show a couple of times. She is fabulous, and her show is fabulous, and what she does is freaking amazing.
Love her.
I do love her. Again, one of the perks is, of being able to connect with you guys is becoming such good friends with Joni. And then she's on, is it Wednesday or Monday? No, it's Mondays, right?
Mondays are the every other Monday on the Otter's Den.
Right.
Yep. Which we also do another show that will be returning back to air once we all get our cues in. Love Shack will be returning, where we actually use astrology to look at your love charts, look at you, look at your partner. We also use psychology, sociology, and spiritualism in Love Shack. As we just sit and talk for an hour, we look at your love chart.
I think that was on in the spring, was it not? Was it not on last year?
Yeah.
Or this? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating when you take those charts, because I saw when she did your chart. I watched that.
That was amazing. Oh,
that was amazing. So I just have to do our station ID really quickly, and then we can keep on moving on. Station ID. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. If you are tuning in just now, you are listening to Spirit Switchboard on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of beautiful New Orleans. I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and I have my special guest, Ed Odell, CEO of the R.I.F.T Nation Network and host of the Orion Effect. And one of my favorite people in my cell phone that I can text to go, what the hell's up today?
I'm freaking out. Calm down, Jordan.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Cindy.
Hook me up.
When is that show going to be on again?
Which show? Love Shack?
The Love Shack. Mm-hmm.
Look for our listings in the next 6 weeks. Myself, Susan, and Joni have to coordinate our schedules to make sure.
So you all need to start working on, because she was going to do like a dating app show. If this is Love Shack, we're gonna get on that.
Yeah. In the Love Shack. Love Shack, baby. Love Shack, baby.
Exactly.
Ruth.
I want to come back to something. I think compassion, like when we were talking about bringing joy and stuff, I think compassion is missing.
Compassion is definitely missing, because if you're doing it for the wrong reason, bad things can happen, like attachments, like spiritual sickness, which is a fact.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So, and it's compassion for the land, the resources, the client, the space, the people in spirit. It's for the living people, having compassion for the living people as well too. It is all about that.
So let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a little story about a paranormal investigator. Went down to town and went down the country. Let me tell you about it. So in the last 6 months, we've encountered 2 clients, and both clients said that they had a well-to-do paranormal team come in, investigate their location, could not solve it and made the problem worse, left and never contacted them again.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes, and I take issues like even with people that do what I do, right? Who plop this little bombshell on people with no follow-up. And not that like I'm trying to toot my own horn, but I feel responsibility to anybody that if it's a dining with the dead, spirits and sweets, if it's an individual session, if it is, I feel I have a responsibility to do that.
But nothing comes from them. They don't get anything said about them because they're popular. Nothing happens. Their stories are not being told, the negative side. Everybody's seeing the positives. Oh, this is going to get me amped up. I'm going to calm down for a second. Screw that. Let's go. Roll it. Bam, bam. That's why I'm the hitman. So check this out. This is completely ridiculous. I'm not going to get on a rant. I'm controlling. But all these so-called TV groups, all the social media groups that I think they're all big, they go cause a problem. Somebody has to come out and fix it or take care of the issue, and they just keep moving on, and there's nothing said about it. They need to be called out. If they're at a place and they cause an issue, something needs to be said about it. Why not? Standards.
There's no governing board. That's the thing.
No governing board and no standards, because we're a nanoscience. And every time you try to organize a board, somebody's ego gets out of check, and there's nothing that happens because it explodes in your face.
So how can we shift the standards then? If we individually with each group have a set of standard and we educate people to what that standard is if they're coming in to work with us and hope that ripples out to create change, well, how does that happen?
We hope. I mean, change takes time. Look at equal rights. Do you think that just happened overnight? And it's going to be hard, but it's going to take a lot of patience because a lot of people are going to get pissed off. But the fact is, it's a little bit of time. And not everybody, hey, Kenny, not everybody, the other frog brothers in the house.
I'm happy that you're here. I was hoping you'd show up.
What? But we first have to understand not everybody can work with each other. Not everybody can work with everybody. 2, not everybody has the same standards. That's this other part. It's sad. And, you know, I'm a member of ASSAP, the oldest organization in the world. And I still report to them on certain things. But it's a collective. There will never be unity. Because
I agree with that, and it makes me sad.
it bothers me too. I've tried it twice here in the state of Virginia. And there's 2 people, and I am not going to turn this into an issue. All I'm going to say is I've tried it twice, and the last major time something amazing was about to happen, and a group of individuals got into it and tore it apart just because of their own egotistical greed. Stated true. It was called Virginia Coalition or Paranormal Coalition, VPA. And because 2 or 3 people down at the beach and one group down in Shenandoah Valley did not want to cooperate and work together, it got trashed. And all we want to do is make sure people had links to each other so they can contact another one in case you need a piece of equipment. You need some advice, share. It had nothing to do with dues or anything like that.
And why that is so important is each group has different people that have different strengths and abilities, whether even if it's somebody that has a religious background, a spiritual background, a therapy background. Like,
you said it right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be a time that paranormal groups did not want mediums in their groups.
I know.
And
I know.
We need to have mediums, but we also need to have someone with the great ability to communicate so they can counsel and give direction and to give help. And that comes with compassion, in which we are not seeing.
And hey, Richie.
Thank you, brother. Richie.
You too. Enjoy the family.
Richie be yours.
Yeah. And that's where compassion comes into it, and looking at, you know, what we see on TV and what we see through social media is not necessarily reality of what most of us are experiencing within the paranormal community and field, because a lot of times it is what's happening within a family structure that is creating the purported activity within a space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that.
What did I miss? Oh,
Rob said, I'm not a medium, but I have skills. Yeah, that's true. We all have a certain amount of, okay. Where are you? You're about an hour and a half late there, Robert. We already talked about you.
We did too. You'll have to watch the replay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you'll have to listen to the replay.
Dude. Gotta get out the van. It's like, and by the way, everybody, Robert is my older brother, and yes, he was a part of the whole situation at the beginning. So there you go. Compassion will help us create the integrity that's needed, but that's the other problem. Integrity in this field completely sucks.
And you can watch where maybe the intention and integrity shifts and changes when notoriety kicks in, right?
Yes, ma'am. Because the ego and the id take over. And if you do not know your foundation and where you sit, and you get into this and suddenly you become bigger than you think you are, you know?
And it's having those people that will hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Around you, keeping them in the space that will hold you accountable.
Agreed.
And lovingly so. Sometimes
Yeah.
we need it, maybe not lovingly, but hold us accountable.
I want to go back to something else you had asked about an hour ago, if you will. Is do you think it's okay for people to walk away? Let me say this.
Well, not necessarily okay. When do you feel?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
if you're burning out, walk away.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel that there's way too much going on in your space, it's okay to walk away. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter. Your mental and spiritual being is what matters. So if you need to walk away for 3 months, for 6 months, for a year, for 3 years, 4 years, walk away. Let others judge you because the judgment's not going to hurt you.
Yeah,
It's
and
going to hurt them.
it's going to be there no matter what. No matter what choice you make, judgment or opinions, everybody's going to have one. Everyone's going to have something to say about it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Everybody
matter.
has a starfish.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Asshole.
That's right. Dildo Baggins.
Bad. Bad. Don't know.
God. Asshole me.
Don't get me in trouble.
Sigh.
Why is that there's a comedian that has that song. My brother used to sing it. My brother taught it to my children when they were small, actually.
People grow up different rates. Yeah, absolutely. Those people judging most likely don't like themselves.
Well, but it's really funny where we feel, and again, too, if there's an expectation from people that, like, if you've delivered so much, right, then people want more of that.
All right.
Yeah. I do see it. We're just like going to put it up. But Heidi, we're there. So, but do you know what I mean? Like, if you have found this stellar piece of evidence or made this, everyone's expecting that same from you all the time, right? And it's that expectation. So letting go, high intention, low attachment, letting go of whatever you think those expectations are from other people. And it's hard.
Robert can tell you right now, I tell the group no expectations. Don't ever walk into an investigation with expectations. Don't go into a research site. Don't go into a meeting with expectations.
Yes.
Because it leaves you an open mind to be flexible. Again, we go back to bamboo.
Yeah. Leave your expectations, judgments, opinions at the door.
And I'm going to tell you about that.
Okay, tell me.
Oh, okay. I was going to let you talk, but all right, fine.
I got lots to say,
James,
but
I didn't miss it. I saw your question, James. If you take a branch before you go on an investigation, stick that branch in a potted soil, make sure it has a bunch of branches, and everybody gets a little card. And before they walk in, they got to write down their problem, good or bad, because it can all be good. You write that intention, your issue, whatever, and hang it on that tree before you walk in that door. You're leaving that there. Leave it at the branch.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good, it's a good motivator. And that's something we're going to start doing. And it needs to be done. And I think it helps the investigation and cold-heartedly. That phone.
James, I'm just going to bring this up now. The Wiz is in the house. I'm so glad that you made it. I hope you're feeling good too. Well, on your investigations, do you ever run across the family pet, say a dog? Pets show up during sessions and pets show up on investigations. For me personally, all the time. All the time. And it's because they're part of your family structure, right? They're part of the energy of that space as well too. I just actually did an interview with the Animal Communication Collective. I think if you, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to that interview. And we talked about animal spirits showing up all the time and different types of animal spirits. And it's weird because for me, it's been more and more lately than what it has before, because it used to wake me out. because I wasn't looking for it. I'm looking for the people in spirit, not necessarily the animals. So when the animals would come in, it would wig me out. And those people who do animal communication full time are getting people that come through every once in a while, and then they get wigged out with the people because they're looking for the animals. You see animals a lot too? Heidi's just sharing. I see them a lot. Robert, people grow at different rates. Some people don't grow at all. if we're going to be honest, some people don't grow at all. I just had a squirrel come to me to say hello too. Oh, animal communication is it's great. We're good. Do what you got to do.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I thought it was a customer, but it's the lady who takes care of our floors and all that. So we're good. Am I on mute?
Nope. I can
okay.
hear you. I can hear you. I was like trying to just remember where we were at before you left, but my 18 tabs open isn't taking me back there. So if you remember right.
Yeah, because I'm going to go back to it says, while on your investigations, do you ever cross a family?
We did talk about that.
Say a dog. Well, I want to make sure I was able to answer that myself.
Yeah, please do.
I'm a promoter sponsor for a location here locally in the Richmond area called the Cabin on 360. I have ran into a spiritual cat there, a feline, if you will. And I have ran into possibly something of a feline animal at another location, which is St. Albans Sanitarium down in Radford, Virginia. That's about the only times I've ever ran into. And I saw the cat at 360 on a banister. Could have been a projected. Here we go. Could that have been a projected thought? Here we go again.
Or energy that somebody's brought with them and left there.
Yeah, that could be possible too. Hell, let's go ahead and talk about that for a second, about people bringing stuff into a location to make it haunted. I mean, I see that all the time. All these supposedly highly active locations that should not even be active. I think its reason is because when these people started researching, these people already had attachments or something connected to them. They bring it there, and it's like throwing off a backpack and throw it on the floor. Oh, look, new home, drop it. So now it's active. It is an active site. All these people who like to go to cemeteries and graveyards, and then they go to these other locations. Well, see? Hey, did you know what the difference is between a cemetery and a graveyard?
But I do not say that they're spirits at all of them either. And I would say the one where I have connected with energies and spirits are like 1800s, it's pioneer cemeteries and people where there is no family connection for them, traumas. Yeah, there's stuff.
Mm-hmm. Bob is in the house.
Hello, Bob.
Bob Burnell. That's an amazing man within himself right there. Do you know what the difference is between a graveyard and a cemetery?
Tell me.
You don't know. You don't know. Really?
Or maybe I do and don't realize it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, probably once I say it, I'll be like, I knew that. I was just fooling you. Anyway, it's pretty obvious. A graveyard is any location that a church or a religious temple is on that this gravesite is attached to. Anything outside that does not have a religious item is called a cemetery.
Oh.
So it's the plot of land that's around a church or synagogue or whatever it may be. It's still a graveyard.
Gotcha.
The fencing. Huh? The fencing. Oh, I'm lost. I'm not sure what the fencing means. Heidi, you got
around a cemetery or a graveyard?
That's how I got my name Paralogian right there. And what this is leading into, Kevin Malik and I and Jennifer Malik were having a conversation on their show Para Universe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe longer than that. And we were discussing cemeteries and graveyards. And Kevin asked me, what did I feel about that? Did I feel that cemeteries and graveyards have spirits, etc.? And I said, well, I do believe graveyards do, and I think they're sentinels. There's a type of spirit that roams that graveyard as a protection energy. Cemeteries could have the same thing, but I think a lot of independent spirits are in cemeteries. I don't think there's anything protecting the cemetery as seen because it is a grave site. But graveyards, because they have an attachment to the religious building that's on site. It's just like Native American. Because
Well,
Americans had sentinels. You knew that, right?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the places that I have seen activity or felt activity with churches that are no longer being used. So these churches that are just sitting that draw in whatever activity, potential activity from who knows what they're doing, right?
Still a religious monument. And
But just saying, like, those are the places where I see stuff. Other places, like, you just walk around the cemetery and it's great. And at one point in time, it was like Victorians were a weird bunch of folks, right? So
yeah. Well, you know what's so good?
Their lunch with their families, right? So, and it was like a public park essentially where people could walk through.
But I will say it on this. Poor angels. Oh, okay. I just looked down. Went what?
Yeah, I had to flush the toilet quickly.
Good, flush the toilet. Bye bye.
Gone.
Back then, was the same thing as taking a picture of your loved one in the coffin.
Yes.
That was part of how society was. Who made it that it's wrong?
Right.
Where did that come from? Where did this change? Good Lord, we can smoke pot, but it's not okay to eat dinner in a cemetery or eat your Sunday afternoon brunch with your loved ones.
And it's about again, not everybody has that standard of and professionalism and compassion. You're not going to drag a REM pod and dowsing rods with people who are grieving, talking to their loved one to, headstones down. Like, that's just not how you're going to roll or should roll.
Shouldn't roll, but we have people doing EVP sessions the day after someone's passed. I don't believe that's a smart. Yeah. I think that's bad taste, in my opinion. But there's people that do it all over the place, and people that you and I both know. And
shush the front door.
Oh, dead serious. They don't wait 7 days. They just go right into EVP and call in that spirit, which is not a good thing, by the way, folks. I think a lot of times our ability to manifest has brought spirits back that didn't want to come back, and that's where we're.
I've seen that happen quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, that's something we're encountering now.
Where?
Why is the hauntings increased in 40 years? Why? Because we're wanting it.
And increased more from 2020. 2020, intense. 2021, a little bit even more, but definitely through 2020 was ripe with activity and unwanted.
Heidi, that's interesting. I'm sorry. I'm having a squirrel moment, but I'm also having a.
That's okay. If you're seeing it, I'm missing it. I knew my mom wouldn't contact me 6 months after.
I'm just looking. I keep thinking about the fencing question or statement, and she says, "I just heard that somewhere. Sorry." And there's no reason to be sorry, but I think I know where you heard it from, and that's really interesting because of the conversation we were having. That just makes me go, "What's up, brah?" Unfortunately, we lost Kevin 70 years ago because of a heart issue. So Yeah, it's sad. We lost a great man in the paranormal field, Kevin Malick. So, yeah. Okay, let me stay on track.
Shiny things.
Shiny, happy people. Okay. We lost a lot of people that time. Yes, we did, Contessa.
Yes.
I love
And
that.
recently, lots of people recently.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So, if we were going to ask you a place that you would not investigate, cemetery graveyards, one of them.
Would I not? Is that what? Wait, repeat.
Is there a place you would not? Is there a place that you feel is a no-go? And sorry, I'm having
Alistair Crawley's cabin. Fuck that noise. Oh, sorry.
If you get me in trouble, the whole
I'm
network
sorry.
gets in trouble.
That was my fault. I told you it was going to slip. Yes, if there's one place, it's Alistair Crawley's cabin. No, thank you. Nope, not. And I'm an Anusian, and I wouldn't go there. Nope. That you want to talk about where Satan farted? Right there. No. Nope. Yep. You couldn't pick. Nope. Couldn't even pick. They were like, Howie, stay here for an hour. You can kiss Howie's hairy. Not happening. Other than that, yeah, I'm good. Thank you, sir. Yep. This is actually Robert. If you remember, Robert actually got this for me many, many, many years ago when he went to the Mayan Islands. This is actual Mayan or South American shell wrapped up in tweed. So, yes, my brother, Robert, that's here right now, actually got this for me. And he got me my turtle shell. Are you flicking me off? Oh, okay. I thought it was your middle finger. I was like, oh, what? No. Oh, be quiet. Okay.
It was a thinking. I was thinking. Could you not see the smoke?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Granddaughter copies me. My granddaughter does the same thing. She's like, what would you like on your sandwich for lunch? She goes, And she's thinking.
Hey, Dennis. Yeah, I thought you were going to sit there and go, I'm in trouble. My bad.
No. Denise was wondering what the necklace was as well, too.
There you go. Yep. I'm surprised. This is the first show ever, even off my show. So when I say first, anybody has asked me about this shell, and now two of you. Yeah.
So if we talk about, so never take it off. So if we talk about collective consciousness of one, knowing people's vibration, tapping into all of that stuff, and Rhonda's not here to help you filter. Agreed. And apparently I'm not doing a very good job either.
You're doing fine.
I should have seen it coming.
Yeah, that's the other part. It just comes out of nowhere. Rhonda can't control it sometimes.
Cindy's saying the necklace looks good on you. So, but it would ground you because it would ground you, that feeling of home and connection because of where it came, the intention where it's coming from, the vibration of the stones, all of those things. Like,
well, see, this
consciously or subconsciously.
They're not stones; they're elements.
Right.
So they're shells. That's okay.
Yes.
But no, you're fine. But it's a valid point. These are elements. So coming from the shell and then the tweed, coming from a location that's highly spiritual. Mm-hmm. Let's face it. Let's talk real. And then, of course, it connects me to another subject that I don't talk about, but I'm sure super. I'm a huge historian when it comes to piracy. So it's another Bahamas connection to the southern part of our ocean, down in Florida and Haiti and Bahamas and Bermuda.
The Bermuda Triangle. That's
yeah. But it's more connected to Edward Teams and stuff like that. So.
And if you talk about pirates, all I can think about is the Kraken and octopus, and that's where my brain goes.
The octopus somehow became a insignia for steampunk. Kraken wow, this can lead us into a whole nother conversation. We don't.
I love steampunk. Anything and everything steampunk. That's where we're at.
Hi.
I know.
I can't wear my gear here, but I love my steampunk.
Mm-hmm.
I've been steampunk ever since I was introduced to it, and I'm like, I love this. This is so me. It fits my personality. So it's that classic with the gentleman with that roughness. Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was good.
Thank you.
Okay, if you were going to give advice to anybody who is wanting to step into this or who is fledgling paranormal investigator.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Katessa, I think that's how we connect, you and I.
Advice to somebody who's wanting to get into it, or someone who's kind of like a ghost hunter and moving forward. Which way we're going?
Ghost hunter moving forward, fledgling.
Do your research.
Research on all of it, equipment, understanding equipment, locations.
Yeah.
History of paranormal.
No, I would say the history is one of the things that this whole field lacks, because they don't know the history. There's a great amount of this field that has no idea why they even investigated or where it got started, where they came from. And I could ask the same question. How many people out there know where the two men who organized the first paranormal research group came from, ASSAP, which is back then was SAPP. Now, hardly anybody could say it. And that's fine. But it actually came from Dr. Williamson and Dr. Sedgwick. Those two gentlemen got together, and then the whole thing started rolling, and that's how organized paranormal research came along. How many people know that? That we don't know our paranormal history? How many people know that there's 4 eras of the paranormal? Not very many. So I would say do your research, understand what the terms are, why are you doing it, understand that. That's the first thing. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to do this? Once you understand why you want to do it, then you can make that conscious decision to move forward in what direction. How do you investigate? How do you research? How do you get to this? What does the equipment in the field mean? Do you need that? Understand spiritualism, because without spiritualism, we're missing something if you're investigating.
I agree.
I'm all about science, but if I didn't have the spiritual background that I have now, I would just be a know-it-all egotistical ass. Bang, bang.
I live to agree.
You want to hear us when we're not on video.
But it plays a part of it. And you know what I found too when I started doing mediumship full time, I had no religious background. There was no religion, I wasn't raised with religion. I went to this like Sunday school that like a bunch of women from the community decided to get together and do like stories and stuff like that. Miss Rhonda is in the house. You're gonna have to catch the replay. And there was an F-bomb dropped, Rhonda. I did not keep him in check. I do not have your skills. So when I started having religious entities show up, it was having to come to terms with religion needed to be part of my spirituality, right? Whoopsies. So religion plays a big factor in this as well too. Religion and spirituality is important.
Got to have the well balance. You got to have the balance in what you're doing. You have to understand why you're doing it. You have to understand why are you being asked to do it, or what's your direction. Some of us are here, and some of us are about to do great things. That's right. I'm getting ready to say it. Some people have great things put upon them, while other people are destined to do great things. Some of us are here because something interesting could happen. And there's going to have to be people here that understand how to handle it, deal with it, recognize it. So you have to understand your position of where you're going to be. Why do you have this happening? Why do you want to see? Why do you want to experience? Once you get through those definite questions, then you know what direction that you're going to want to go and need to go. Need to go because some of the people need to be here.
And being okay with or needing to be flexible, that you don't know, that you're still going to be learning. You're constantly learning and being open to all of that. Hi, Anita. James, this is a very interesting question, and I'm glad that you're asking it. Have you ever contacted a spirit from the future?
We weren't going down that rabbit hole this time, but you just had to go there, didn't you?
We have 15 minutes.
Well,
We got 15 minutes. Because is that a possibility that the spirits that we are connecting with are potentially?
Again, we don't know. This is a huge theory that's in the paranormal field as we speak.
Agreed.
Is it really the past? Are we dealing with the past, the present of another dimension, or are we really being communicated by our future selves? Yet they could be grays, whites, gray, blue, could be aliens. We don't know what we're going to be looking like 120 years from now. Could we be communicating? And actually, what about them investigating us? Maybe they're investigating us like we're investigating them. You know what Dr. Strange says? It's an endless amount of possibilities.
Endless amount of possibilities. It's true. That's why I said we don't know. We won't. I mean, we will not ever know. So we have to be okay with always being in wonderment. I wonder every day. Wonderment. We have to be
bamboo.
Flexible like bamboo.
Flexible like bamboo.
Yes, master.
We have to accept change and be able to work with it, to understand it, to manipulate it when need be, and to use it when we need to.
Mm-hmm. And that's where being okay about asking those questions and finding the people where you can ask those questions, which is why I've been so grateful for our friendship. Like, there's no embarrassment for me to say I don't understand what this is about, and what is this about, and other people too that I've met through starting the show, through starting a Spirit Switchboard. Like, I sent somebody an orb picture the other day and I went, I'm open to the discussion, but this one just waked me about, like, there's something different about this one.
I had a similar event this past week too. That's ironic that you did, because it caught me off guard, and nothing ever caught me off guard like that. But I had it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where having that circle of people to fall back on, why we don't have all the information individually, but we surround ourselves with the people who are diverse in their knowledge that we can lean on when we need them.
Right. Exactly. I like that Heidi did say, my thoughts exactly, Carolyn. Do we have time for the subject, for that subject? Yeah, we will. We'll come back to it. Promise you that. Of course, my brother sits up. We do ask most of the time during the investigations, where are you from? And it's true.
Or because where and when.
Is exactly, because we have to ask that to see if we'll get it. Now, you know, the other thing, I'm going to end this on some note. And this
we got 10 minutes. That's lots of time to talk.
Oh, well,
we could probably push it 15 minutes because we started at 10 after the hour, right? We had that little bump in timeline.
Right. I gotta close the shop, girl. I might have to let you do it for the last 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? We'll come back. That's my pirate. Yeah, you got it already. All right. And yeah, I've got to shut this place down because we're about to head out. The one thing, and holy crap, it just went. No. Oh, son of a biscuit eater.
Timey-wimey lines.
Oh, I can't believe it. It just went in and went out. That's what she said.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. The hell I had intent with that one, and then oh man. All right, let's keep going.
have we connected with future selves? Is it us investigating ourselves from a future time? Is it aliens? Is it? And I think that we're not going to know everything.
We're not. We don't know everything. And
Orbs.
Orbs. Oh God, let's not even go there. I'll be turned into Jack Sparrow again. I'll be running down the beach and everybody will be throwing up spears. Brain fart. Yeah, total brain fart, bruh. I had it perfect. And I was like, yeah. And then it just went, blah, 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 blah. Oh, crap. Let's see. I do have many vid clips that I would love an open mind. Oh, you can send them on over anytime, Heidi. Just remember, folks, you send me a picture or a video, expect an honest opinion, my honest insight. Please do not get mad, because if you get mad at something you sent me, that's your issue, not mine.
So again, with the leave your expectation at the door when you are asking somebody for their opinion about a piece of potential evidence or something like that. Yep. Like,
I agree.
People want to send me pictures all the time, and I tell them I am not the best person to send a picture to, like, especially when it's clouds and stuff like that, because I don't see it. My brain doesn't go there to see what you are seeing, so I just don't go there.
I'm just going to go here, and I see what it's stated, and I don't know if the individual is just catching up with you or part of your show or if there's intent. But I see a question. I am going to answer this.
Where?
It says, why are humans' lifespan so short? Okay. I'm not, because humans in general are evil. And we have been put a cap on so we don't do stupid things like we've done in the past. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And as an Anusian, I feel that.
Explain what that is for people who may not know.
Anusian?
Yeah.
Anusian is an individual who actually, how do I want to say this? I don't just pray to Jesus. I don't pray just to God, but also to the angels, because the angels defend us constantly, and we're so egotistically prickish towards the rest of the universe that they can't stand us because we've got free will. And there's your other answer. We have free will.
We have free will.
So there you go. Run around the universe like a bunch of monkeys.
I mean, I wouldn't have said evil, but definitely selfish, right? Like, we take and don't give back. We don't give back to the resources. We don't give back to, we take so that we feel better, but we're not giving back in equal measure. And it needs to be a give and take. It needs to be a give and take.
I agree with you there, but we got to remember everybody has the same word for a different terminology and vice versa.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Word. I call demon something completely different than somebody else says demon. So evil, in valid point, I understand where you're coming from, but when I use the word evil, we don't have the best intent. Okay, let's go to the best intent. So, we had to be put a cap on, and even the angels are like, whoa, these kids are out of control, man. Take the 6-pack away from them. Don't let them have cigarettes after 21 anymore. These things. That's all I'm saying. And that's pretty much why. Seems like after Y2K was yesterday, 24 years ago, it does feel like that. And time is speeding up. And it's not just because we're getting older. Have you
ever tried to slow down time too, though? It's trippy.
I plead the fifth.
I knew it.
I know nothing of what you're referring to, madam.
Fine. It's trippy. Because we are magical beings.
Had you told me in Vietnam I would have lived to age 77, I would have thought you mad. Yet my entire life has flown by. And see, there you go. These are valid points. Ron is going, I smell bullshit.
Our whole show has been talking about stuff like that. We've been bringing up a certain word the whole time.
Bullshit?
No.
Oh. YouTube can come after me.
No.
But you know what? I will suggest this, and you might want to go to Michelle and all them. And you can't. Never mind. I keep forgetting. Y'all are actually on audio, aren't you?
Yes. Well, so with the UPRN network, 80% of our audio listeners, right? Or probably a little bit more, but is audio for sure.
And let me step up and apologize to everybody that might have been listening today. And if I offended you with my vocal announcements and words, please, I ask for your forgiveness. That was of the guest, not the host. We thank you very much.
And he is smiling like a Cheshire cat, just so you all know the emotion. If you can't tell by the tone, there is.
I really am sorry.
Yes, there is that too. So yeah, tell people where they can find you. Riff Nation Network.
Oh, absolutely.
Miss Rhonda, you and Rhonda.
That's right. Rhonda's in the house. Oh man, it's so tempting. I'm not going to do it to you, Rhonda. Don't worry. But man, it's tempting. We've got a new website that's going up in just a couple of months.
Exciting.
Yep, that's going to be able to handle all of our videos because we're doing a backup now because we don't know where the standards of Facebook, YouTube, and the rest will be, and somebody's going to need to find us. You can find me on Facebook and only on Facebook because I don't do any of the others. You can find me at Ed Odell. Pardon me, Ed Odell. Or you can find me at the Riff Nation Network. You can drop me a personal message right inside there, and I'll be glad to answer. Or you can find me at the Rift Nation at gmail.com. That's the Rift Nation at gmail.com. Send your questions, answers, anything you need to do. I am always looking for new hosts and new shows. Jump on over and say hi. How you doing?
Riff Nation Network on YouTube.
Yes, you can find the Rift Nation on YouTube, Instagram, no longer on that other X Factor, but on Rugby. Oh, crud. What was the other one? We got a new one we just hooked up on. We're actually building it from scratch. We left 55,000 listeners to start over. Yeah, call me crazy, but I did it, and I'm glad. And
sometimes fresh energy, right, is needed.
Yes.
Rhonda is saying kick.
Kick. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Let's see here. Thank you both. Wait, I saw something that, you got it. It's all good. Ed, come back and do this again. Been a great show. Oh, absolutely, James. Oh, dude, I plan to hang out with her. Yo, what's up? We're going to hang that 10, the Universal. Hang in there with their boards, boy.
I maybe got to a third of the questions of the 8 pages that I wrote out.
Oh, yeah, we got a long ways to go and a short time to get there. We're going to do what they said they can't be done. There you go. You can find me there. Right there if you're on Facebook. Just remind me where you saw me at and we're good. Because I do watch my Facebook closely. I already got hacked 2 years ago and crashed, and I will not do it again.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think having the backup is important the way that, and again, it's all, we don't know what could happen. What things are going to shut down, why they're going to shut down, what's going to happen.
Yeah, we don't. So we are making future plans to be able to handle what we can as we can. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. Yeah, because I don't like the direction that Facebook's going. I really don't. And this is one of the things you'll hear me say. I'm not always a nice guy. I don't always wear a black hat.
No, so that's the other show that you have for Saturday of the month. You don't always. Well, I think it took a little hiatus, but the Outlaws.
No, we had one last Saturday. Paranormal Outlaws.
Yeah, I know you had one last Saturday, but I don't remember you having one the month before.
No, we didn't. We did. We all just did take a break because can you only talk about the paranormal but so much,
Yeah.
and so people are just all like, it's just the guys again. Click. I don't want that. I don't want to be like every other show that's out there where they go, oh, look what we did, or this is my opinion, and that is. I want you to want to tune into my show, to one of our shows, because of our attitude, because we inspire you, because we entertain you, and because I've got something to say. Yeah. Thanks, Robo.
Thank you. So thank you. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. And it worked out really well. So
Thank God.
we were able, yes, it was so great. Thanks everybody that's in the chat. Next week, Fiona, it's all good. You can watch the replay, but thanks for showing up and being here. Things that are coming up. So I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about next week. It's going to be to be announced. I will let you know what the topic's going to be so you can get ready for it. The week after, Richie B and Wojo are coming on. So we will be talking about all things Sasquatch, which will be super fun. I do have a newsletter that goes out. If you are interested, it's at carrieLynnShellhorn.com. You can sign up for the newsletter. And, when we were talking about doing what you need to do in order to be okay. Normally I send the newsletter out on the 1st of the month, and I just had so much going on. I'm like, it's going to wait till the end of the long weekend. It'll wait till early next week because it is my newsletter. Why do I need to feel worried about judgment or opinion of other people who are like freaking out about not getting it on the 1st? I didn't have time, folks. See you later. So yeah, I had to make that executive decision, so it will go out next week. If you are hanging out, Church of Mavis is coming up next with Jeffrey Pritchett. Thank you all for being part of the conversation and joining in with the chat. You guys make the show. I appreciate all of you. Yes, Ed, do you have something else you'd like to say before we go?
Happy trails to you.
Thank you.
Until we meet again.
I won't even mute you till you're done.
Woohoo!
Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thank you to the Public Radio Network. Thank you to the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3, 107.7 FM out of beautiful New Orleans. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you to Ed. Thank you, everybody that was hanging out. My heart is overflowing with gratitude. Have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you next week.